It's Wednesday, April 18th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, a public art initiative takes shape along the walkway to the sea, spearheaded by the Mid-Cape Cultural Council. We talk with Nina Coleman from Sandy Neck Beach Park about restoration efforts after this winter's historic storms. And finally, we sit down with Town Clerk Ann Quirk on getting registered to vote and voting etiquette. Let's start with some news. A solemn day on Cape Cod as fallen officer Sean Gannon is laid to rest in Yarmouth. Thousands of law enforcement officers have traveled to Cape Cod from across Massachusetts, New England, and the United States to pay their respects and to honor their fallen brother. Gannon, a 32-year-old canine officer from the Yarmouth Police Department, was shot and killed Thursday while trying to serve an arrest warrant in Marston's Mills. His canine partner, Nero, was also severely injured and is recovering from his wounds at the Cape Cod Veterinary Specialist in Buzzards Bay. The Cape Cod community has come together to support this young officer and his family with candlelight vigils, fundraisers, and have lined the streets of Barnstable and Yarmouth for his journey to his final resting place. We will continue to keep his family, Nero, and all of our police and first responders in our thoughts, and we thank them for their commitment to our safety. Rest easy, Sean. Life sometimes can be a series of transitions, and Marston's Mills resident Diane Gauthier has embraced this process. She embarked on the We Can Pathmakers program this past fall, hoping to make a transition from traveling over the bridge to her job with the Girl Scouts, and has just recently been named the new executive director for We Can. Diane has been a resident of Marston's Mills for 20 years with her husband and her son, who is currently attending, and her daughter, who graduated from Barnstable High School. For several years, she served on the board of the Barnstable Community Horace Mann Charter Public Schools on Beers' Way. I'm incredibly grateful to be here to help make Cape Cod a wonderful place to live, Gauthier said in a Barnstable Patriot interview. In Marston's Mills, she can live off the beaten path where you have to plan to go to the grocery store and where the kids can ride their bikes in the street, but where it's still an easy commute. The arts are alive and well in the town of Barnstable, and the Mid-Cape Cultural Council has several events planned to spring into Art Week and a new public art discovery walk in the works for the walkway to the sea. Members from the council join us to talk about all the exciting details. With us today in studio are two members of the Mid-Cape Cultural Council. We have Meryl Hebring, who is Chair of the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, and we have Vice Chair Kim Rungberger. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Paula.
So, Town of Barnstable has a lot of committees, and the both of you sit on the Mid-Cape Cultural Council. Tell us a little bit about what that committee does at the Town of Barnstable.
The major things that the council does is to give grants to participants in the town of Barnstable and the town of Yarmouth. We serve both towns. These grants are in the areas of arts, humanities, and science. And we were fortunate we gave 16 grants this particular grant cycle. We had 45 applications, so it was a very difficult process.
Right. And the money for these grants actually comes from the state, I understand?
Yes, it's from the Mass Cultural Council.
Okay. And artists and organizations across these two towns, if they serve Barnstable or Yarmouth residents, are encouraged to apply for
correct.
these. Excellent. So 45 applicants, 15 that got the grants. Tough job?
Very tough, yes.
So they get the grants. What happens then? How are these awarded to them?
We have a grant reception, which is scheduled this year for April 29th. And we're doing something a little different this particular year. Usually we have sort of displays. People look at the displays. Then we have very significant performances and officials speak. We decided to kind of change it up this year, and so we're doing a complete open house, and we're doing it at High Arts campus at the Geyer Barn. We will have displays, we will have performances, we will have government officials there. We will be kicking off our Discovery Walk, but it's all open house where people can drop in anytime and see videos, see projects that all of our grantees of this year have put together.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It
what,
is.
What time is this going to happen?
It's from 2 to 4
2 to
on
4.
Sunday, April 29th.
And you just mentioned the Discovery Walk. Now, full disclosure, I was a member of the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, so I do know what that is, but our residents don't, and this is exciting.
Yes.
Kim, tell us, and Marilyn, tell us a little bit about the Discovery Walk and this new public art initiative.
Well, if people are familiar with the High Arts campus, it's kind of right adjacent to the buildings that we're in right now. There's the barn, the Geyer barn is kind of the centerpiece, and then there's a gallery next door, and then there's a live-in artist residence. And there's a trail that leads from probably Sturgis down Pearl Street and all the way through past this building and then all the way down to the waterfront, the Bismore Park area. And the shanties are there. The lower shanties everybody's familiar with. There's 7 of them. There's 3 brand new ones right up here at the top of the hill. And we've commissioned, well actually before my time and yours on the
And mine.
Okay,
Yeah,
all of us
yeah,
are.
all of us,
We came in at the tail end of a process that involved creating a grant to select some artists who proposed some outdoor commissioned works, and they're supposed to be interactive. There are 3 at the moment that are in process. We have to raise the funds in order to pay for the construction, the engineering, every aspect of it. So we have to fundraise. But that walk is going to be called the High Arts Discovery Walk. So people can actually bring their families down the path and play with a sculpture or go under something, or something might move. And it all just enhances the waterfront experience here in Hyannis.
Right. Can you tell us the 3 actual pieces? I know that local artist Marianne Agresti will have something down towards the Maritime Museum. Who are the other 2 artists and what are their pieces?
The other artist is Sarah Porter, and she has a piece called The Wave, and then Eric Kaiser has a piece he calls Turn with a U, and then Turn with an E, and then Turn with a U. That is a beautiful sculpture where there's a crank and you can turn the birds in flight.
That's amazing. And then
yes.
Marianne's piece of art here, this public art, is a benches and the ability for almost like a seesaw type
and that's,
of
yes, that's what she decided.
rolling like the ocean
yeah,
almost.
this people is, well, I guess we have this sideways.
Right.
People can sit on one side, and it is a seesaw, and then there are going to be seats around it, and so she was very much inspired by the boats rocking in the harbor, and this will be close to the harbor too.
This is fantastic.
Yes.
Public art is making a resurgence all over the country. I've been to places like Chicago and Boston where there's a lot of different types of public art. This is going to cost some money.
Yes.
Not enough grants to cover it in the cycle of the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, but you have a wonderful event planned to kick this off. Tell us about it.
Well, we have a Hyannis event called A Taste of Art.
Okay.
And that is going to be Thursday, May 3rd from 5 to 9. And right now we have, I believe, 7 restaurants involved. There may be more come time. But we have Katie's Burgers,
Katie's.
Torino's, Pizza Barbone, Naked Oyster, and Columbo's, Embargo, and the West End. Each of them are going to donate 100 appetizers. And it's totally a donation from them, which is wonderful because every dollar spent on this event goes straight to our Discovery Walk fundraising efforts. So they're each going to have a signature plate, and you walk from place to place, and you get your plate, and you might want to purchase something else while you're there. But it should be a very delicious and culinary fun experience in Hyannis.
And this will kick off the fundraising. You are taking donations.
Yes.
People can go up to the Mid-Cape Cultural area on the website, and there's an address there that they can send donations into. And then the other piece of this is that you also have the ability for people to buy tickets to the Taste of Art, I believe, on Eventbrite. Is
Yes,
that where it is?
Eventbrite, and then also at the Directions Clothing and Arts Emporium.
Okay, and that's right on Main Street.
Yes, right on Main Street,
Okay.
424 Main.
Right, and this Taste of Art literally is Main Street. People will
Yes,
walk Main
yes.
Street to each of the establishments, get a little bite to eat, maybe a glass of wine with that, and be with other art lovers.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you can also purchase tickets just directly from our Facebook page for the Mid-Cape Cultural Council.
Okay, excellent. And if people need more information, they can come to the Facebook page, or the Town of Barnstable has information. Are you looking for any new members?
We always are, yes.
Always are.
Yes.
It's a great way to get involved in
Yes,
your towns.
yes,
Yarmouth
yes.
and Barnstable, it's a combined mid-cultural entity, so it serves both towns. And I enjoyed my time on it, so I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see the Taste of Art, and I'll be at the grants reception.
Good.
That'd be great.
Thanks for joining
Thank you.
us.
Thank you, Paula.
It was a winter of erosion out at Sandy Neck Beach Park, and we spoke with park manager Nina Coleman and hope springs eternal as the beach is being repaired, and a reminder to ORV pass holders. On the phone with us this morning is Nina Coleman, Sandy Neck Park Manager. Nina, hi, how are you? A little windy out there today.
Good morning. Yes, it was a very windy day. It's been a kind of a yucky weekend, but we are under the impression that next weekend might actually be a little spring-like, so looking forward to that.
Great. So what are the beach conditions out there right now?
So it was a stormy winter, as we all know, so the beach does look like it's been beat up a bit. We are allowing off-road vehicles out on the beach. We really have to watch the tides this time of year. But she heals really quickly. I'm seeing day-to-day sand coming back, building up the berm. The dune is starting to look less like freshly eroded. So it's building back up, and there's areas of really nice wide beach. So I think the season's going to be fine.
Excellent. That's really great to hear. But you can't really get out onto that beach unless you have your new ORV pass. Am I correct on that? They just expired on Sunday.
They did. They expire on tax day, April 15th. So we are open now at the gatehouse. We can either process off-road vehicle permit applications through the mail. So the permit application is on our website. Or folks can just come on down and come to the gatehouse. We're open every day of the week, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And people can bring their vehicle down here to the gatehouse. If you haven't had a sticker before, we do need to have a look at those 6 items of equipment in the vehicle. And then you need your registration and your driver's license. And then we process them right here. Get your new sticker. Here, the Barnstable residents are yellow with a red boundary, and we have, of course, a T-shirt to match your brand new sticker. All that's available at the gatehouse, and then we'll give you the rules and regulations, give you a little talk about how to stay safe on the beach, and you can head on out that very day.
Well, that's great. And those 6 items, can you just briefly say those for us?
Sure, absolutely. Again, they're on the website, but it's a full-size spare tire. We actually accept like the 3/4 size spare tire, which is pretty much what all the vehicles have these days. The only thing we don't accept is those silly little donut tires. The jack that comes with the vehicle, a tire pressure gauge that goes down to 10 psi, a support board, decent width of 18 by 18 inches, and it's got to be 3/4 of an inch wide, and that's your support board. A tow rope, minimum 15 feet long, and a shovel, of course. Shovels are important.
Shovels are important. Over the years, I think I've seen a few folks need that shovel getting their vehicle out of some of that sugar sand.
Yeah, and some people buy, and they do pass the inspection, those little military shovels. Not very handy when you get stuck.
Exactly.
Those long shovels are much better, but you know, you need something. So those will pass, but anybody with a pickup truck really should just toss a shovel in the bed of their truck and call it a day.
Okay. For those people that aren't going to take their vehicles out to the beach, the parking lot is open, but let's talk about a little bit about that sand replacement.
Yes, the parking lot is open. Both the upper and lower lot are open. There's a huge pile of debris in the lower lot that came off the beach, and that is available to pick through. I want to just throw that out there. We're trying to get that recycled as much as possible. But then in front of the parking lots, of course, that's the area where erosion is the most concerning because it's where our infrastructure is located. So we did have quite a year of high erosion rates. So we did have to respond in order to protect our parking lot, and we brought in about 4,500 cubic yards of sand and placed it in front of the lots. That was all done in the last couple of weeks. So you will see a different color sand in front there. That's just because it hasn't had a chance to weather. It should get a little bit more blended in. Right now it does look quite different. But that sand is protecting our parking lot, bathhouse, and of course our septic system. So we were very grateful that we were able to get a company to do that, as we know many communities are responding right now to these high erosion rates, and we were able to get Diggett Construction out here and get that all shored up for us.
Okay, so folks can come down to that parking lot and pick through some of that debris. You never know what treasures you'll find from the sea, correct?
You don't know. You're welcome to come in here. You don't need a parking permit this time of year. Obviously, always
Okay.
year-round an off-road vehicle permit, but folks are welcome to come on up to Sandy Neck, park in the parking lot, certainly walk their dogs on the beach. Dogs do need to be on leash. It's officially plover season, and it's also, you know, polite for everybody else to have everybody's dogs on leash. So we do enforce that. Also, we do have a spring cleanup on Saturday to celebrate Earth Day. So we have a 9 to noon Sandy Neck beach cleanup. So anybody who wants to come out and look for treasures on the beach with a trash bag, come on down. We have giveaway merchandise, and we also have the Mass Beach Buggy Association provides lunch. So it is a really nice day.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to spend a Saturday. Thanks so much, Nina, for giving us this update on Sandy Neck Beach.
Thank you, Paula. You take care.
You too now.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. That was Nina from Sandy Neck Park Beach, and the beach is open. Ann Quirk, Town of Barnstable Clerk, joined me for an enlightening discussion on voter registration and voting booth etiquette. There's lots of young people looking to vote for the first time. Recent events have mobilized all of our young teenagers to look to see how they can register for vote. With me today is Town Clerk Ann Quirk. And you've got all the answers for these young folks. There's lots to discuss about voting, but let's first start with how do young people register to vote? Or how does anyone? They don't have to be young. Let's get them all registered.
Yes, let's get them all registered. It's very simple. Today it's really simple. If you have a computer, you can go online to the Secretary of State's office, and it's www.sec.state.ma. When you go into that site, it says to register to vote. There's a little button you click on, and you can just go in and fill it out and register to vote. That's called our online voter registration.
Okay.
It will eventually get to us here at the town hall, and we will respond to it, and you will get a letter from us saying, this is your precinct, this is where you vote. You may also get a call from us that it's been rejected because there's something wrong with the information and we need to talk to you. So that's one way. If you go to the Registry of Motor Vehicles and you're registering a car or you're getting your license, you can then vote, you can then register to vote there as well.
That's easy.
It's really easy. So there's two different ways there. Now you can come into our office. We'll be happy to see you. We love seeing our residents and get them set up to be a voter. We'll talk with you and tell you where you're going to vote, and we'll spend a little time with you, and it's kind of a nice thing.
Okay.
So that's another way. There are also places that you can go. For instance, the libraries all have voter registration cards. So you can fill one out there, and they'll get it to us, or you can send it in the mail to us, and there you go.
So multiple ways to do this. So even if you're not online, or I have noticed that the state website's not quite up to speed in responsiveness with the phone. So sometimes getting on your phone and doing it is a little difficult. There's always forms at the library. You can do it at the RMV, which I think is easy because you have all your documentation when you get your license anyways, right?
Correct.
Perfect. How young?
Oh, that's a good one. 16-year-olds, as of the last change with the legislature, can now register to vote. However, it's a pending registration. You still can't vote until you're 18 years old. Okay. So what happens is it comes into us and it goes into a queue. And when your birthday comes up, it'll pop up on our computers so that we can complete the voter registration. You must be 18 before the next voting time, wherever you happen to be in the state.
Okay, so let's talk about voting times, because you're a new voter, right? And you kind of want to figure this. It's a little hard to, you've got primaries, and then you've got the major election, then you have town elections. So what are some of those dates that people want to be aware of?
Well, because we're really a city doing business as the town of Barnstable, the big thing is for us, our local elections are every other year, and we're on the odd numbered years.
Okay.
So we had one in 2017. The next one for us will be 19. The thing that's important is ours are always in November because we follow the city schedule. Okay. Okay. Versus the rest of the towns on the Cape that have them in the springtime. Okay. We will also have this year a primary for the state in September, on September the 4th, the day after the 5th, the day after the holiday.
Okay.
Is it the 4th? I'm not sure if it's the 4th or the 5th. And then we will also have the state election on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. That's how it falls.
Okay. So to register to vote, you do have X amount of days before that first primary and then before the first federal, am I correct? You don't have to register for the primary, but you would have to be registered for the federal and state for November, correct?
Correct. If you are already a registered voter, you're all set.
Okay.
That's what the census is all about, is keeping you as a registered voter.
Okay.
So as long as we've received your information, you're all set. It's those folks that are new to the area or have moved within the town. We need to know. Because you go into a polling place and you say, well, gee, I live at 123 Main Street and we don't have you there. We have to have that information so we can take care of that for you. The cutoff today is 20 days prior to any election.
Okay.
All right. That information right now is before the legislature because they're looking at changing some things. Nothing has changed as yet, so we're still working with that 20-day cutoff, but that may change in the near future.
Okay, we'll have you back if it does, okay?
Okay.
And then kind of the last thing, and this really does go back to new voters or people who haven't been out to the polls. There's some real etiquette out there that when you go to vote, there's some rules and protocol that you should follow. Can you give me like the top two that you know of?
Absolutely. If you are supporting a candidate and you have on a pin or a button or a hat or a t-shirt, you cannot come into the polling place.
Okay.
That's number one.
Noted.
You have to leave, change your clothes, come back, take your pin off, whatever.
Okay.
That's considered polling within the polling place, and you can't do that.
Right.
The second thing is you can't bring in a camera and start snapping pictures. It's just not something that's done. We've had some issues with it throughout the state, throughout the other states, and even with the people from the news, we asked them to stand in the doorway, so taking a shot of people standing at the booth's great, but you're not looking at their their ballots and things like
Right.
that.
There's a modicum of privacy associated with your vote. You don't have
Correct.
to tell people how you voted.
Correct.
Excellent. So those are two really, really good things to understand. Now, the last thing that I want you to talk about a little bit, because I love my polling ladies at Precinct 10. They've been there for 30 years.
They have.
But I think there's an opportunity for young people to get involved in this process. How would they get involved to be a poll worker in their precinct?
We would love some young people to get involved, and I also vote at Precinct 10, and I love that group. I love all my poll workers. They're an amazing amount of men and women that have dedicated. This is a long, long day for people.
It sure is.
And we start before 7 o'clock in the morning. They have to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they don't get out of there until after 8 o'clock at night, once everything is buttoned up and put away. So it's a really long day. There are polling places where they do half days, which is great.
Yep.
That works for me too. But we're always looking for polling people, people to help us out at the polls. I would love some people that we could bring along and train and get them in position, because there's a lot of polling places where I have folks that are in their mid to late 80s. It's a long day for them.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we've tried to do, but we're limited, is to have school people, maybe somebody in a junior or a senior high school. The way the state law reads right now, I can only have 2 for the whole 13 precincts. So, and then they have to have a letter from their parents and a letter from the school, and it becomes a kind of a...
Right. But there's certainly quite a few college students out of 4Cs or some of our other institutions that are here. You know, even some of the workforce people, the Cape Cod Young Professionals. So hopefully they hear the call to action, and all they have to do is contact you.
Absolutely. Come
And you're
right
super
to my...
to talk to.
Thank you. They just need to come to my office. We'll send them right over to HR and get them all set up so they can get a paycheck, and we can go from there.
And they get paid for it.
And they get paid for it.
Well, that's fantastic. That was a great way to end the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Now for a look at our community calendar. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Marston's Mills Liberty Hall is hosting their world-famous chicken pie supper on April 21st. Their exclusive recipe, homemade chicken pie, is available between 4:30 and 6 p.m. and includes a drink and dessert. Eat in with your neighbors or take out for an easy weekend dinner. You can pick up tickets at the Marston's Mills Library or call Charlie for more information at 508-420-3147. Everything is better with pie. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow. We have some legislative updates from Town Councilor Jen Cullum and Julian Sear from Beacon Hill. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.